So I'm currently up in Santa Clara, California for the Augmented World Expo. That's why I don't have as high of production quality as I might normally have. I'm in a hotel room using a different microphone than what I normally use, using a different webcam than what I normally use. So this video is going to be a little bit more quick and dirty than my normal Friday news videos, but I wanted to make sure I got you all the news for the week, even though I'm not at home to do my normal video setup. Now, if I'm being totally honest, this week was a bit slower of a week in the world of AI, which made it a perfect week for me to be up here at this event exploring all the latest in augmented reality and virtual reality technology. But most of the news that did come out this week seemed to come out from NVIDIA. So on the 28th, the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, was at a large event called Computex. At this event, he gave a keynote where he broke down all of the latest and greatest tech that they're releasing over at NVIDIA. In the description below, I'll link you to an article that gives you an entire list of all of the various announcements that they made. They made 13 different announcements at this event. However, in this video, I'm just going to hone in on two of those announcements. The first is that NVIDIA announced their DGX GH200 AI supercomputer. Now, for us mere mortals, we'll probably never get our hands on a supercomputer like this, at least not in the near term. As of right now, they say Google Cloud, Meta, and Microsoft are the first ones that are going to be getting access. But this supercomputer essentially is going to make it a lot easier and faster to train these large language models that everybody's using. So with this extra compute power that some of these big companies are going to start to get access to, we're going to see all sorts of new innovations, and the pace at which some of these models can be trained sped up by leaps and bounds. Now, the other big unveiling at their event was their Avatar Cloud engine. They actually gave a demo at this event, which I did share on my Twitter account if you want to see it. I'll make sure that's linked below as well. But in this demo, somebody walked up to a character in the game, spoke to them in natural language, and then with almost no delay whatsoever, the character spoke back and responded using completely AI generated dialogue. Now, the creator of this technology, I actually have a call with him next week, and I'm going to learn more about this technology and make sure I break it down for you in a future video. But this is going to offer a whole new level of immersion inside of games, as well as create all sorts of new scenarios where every single time you play through a game, you might have a completely different discussion with somebody, and all of your friends playing the game are probably going to have completely different discussions than what you're having during this game. I clipped out this section of the presentation and put it up on Twitter, and it's actually my most popular Twitter post I've ever posted. So once again, I will link this up below so you can check out this video for yourself if you haven't watched it already. But this appears to be where the future of gaming is going. Completely AI generated dialogue. Now, I do think that you still need storytellers. You still need people to go and sort of add the guardrails of where these stories are going to go, and the characters will sort of stay within the constraints of those guardrails, because you don't want random NPCs that aren't that important to the storyline to be spoiling other elements of the storyline. So they will have to create some sort of guardrails around these, but it will be interesting to see these very dynamic games where every playthrough and every person playing it is actually experiencing something slightly different. Now, in the wake of all of this news coming out from NVIDIA actually surpassed the $1 trillion market cap mark. Now, shortly after hitting that mark, they dipped back down a little bit, and as of this recording, they're worth about $982 billion, but this puts them in the top 6 largest companies on the planet. In other NVIDIA news, NVIDIA released the research for their Neuralangelo model, which is a model that can take 2D video, turn what that 2D video sees into 3D objects and 3D elements that can then be imported into 3D graphics programs or game engines or anything that accepts 3D graphics. So you can see in their demo here that simple video captures from a phone, like this truck that they've got on the screen, is then turned into a 3D object with depth map and detailed 3D geometry, and it can even be done with drone views. So a drone can fly around an area, and all of that 2D footage that the drone is shooting can then be turned into 3D objects and used in things like games and videos. Continuing on with that NVIDIA theme of this week's video, Jensen Huang gave the commencement speech at NTU, the National Taiwan University. This is one where I actually did a super edit of the entire speech. It's really choppy, but you can watch the whole video online. I kind of tried to cut out all of the gaps in his speaking because he takes a lot of long pauses, and it shaved off about 5 minutes of the video, but now the video looks really choppy. But I did write this tweet that gives some of the biggest takeaways from that commencement speech. He started off by talking about how many jobs will disappear and many jobs will become obsolete. However, new jobs are going to be created. Jobs like prompt engineers, data engineers, AI safety engineers, and AI factory operations. He reiterated the statement that we've heard before that AI isn't necessarily going to take people's jobs. Somebody that uses AI is going to take other people's jobs. During the speech, he also told 3 stories. The first story he told was how he had a contract with Sega for something he called forward texture mapping. Halfway through the project, over a year into the project, they realized that it was the wrong approach and that Microsoft's Direct 3D technology was actually better technology. He knew that if they kept on working on that technology, they would fall behind technologically. But if they canceled the contract with Sega and had to give the money back, they would go bankrupt. So he actually called up Sega and said, we want to back out of the contract, but we need this money, otherwise our company's going to die. And Sega agreed. And he told this story because it was a story of humility and going to somebody and asking for help, and asking for that help from Sega saved his company. It's a really good presentation. I highly recommend watching it. At the end, he suggests that everybody pretty much run towards AI because that's where everything is going. And again, you can find my sort of TLDR version of it that I chopped up for you over on my Twitter. All right, so moving away from NVIDIA news, I found this one fascinating. A majority of Americans have heard of ChatGPT, but few have actually tried it. So according to these surveys, 58% of people have heard of ChatGPT, which to me, that even seems surprisingly low with how much ChatGPT is everywhere these days. However, the paper found that just 14% of US adults have actually tried ChatGPT. So those of you that are actually watching videos like this and going down these AI rabbit holes with me, this really shows you how early we really are to all of this stuff. 42% of people still don't even realize that a lot of this AI stuff is bubbling up right now. And based on my math, 86% of people still haven't even tried ChatGPT themselves yet. Speaking of ChatGPT, this was a funny news article from earlier this week. A lawyer tried to use ChatGPT to cite other cases that would help support their argument for their current case. However, ChatGPT hallucinated like crazy and actually completely made up cases. Now, I don't know the outcome for the lawyers that tried to do this, but it's probably not going to end too well for them. Now, in other AI news this week, there was this statement of AI risk that was circulating. And this was all over Twitter and all over the interwebs because it was signed by some of the most prominent names in the AI world. Names such as Jeffrey Hinton, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, Bill Gates, Ahmad Mostak from Stability AI, Lex Friedman, and many other notable figures in the world of AI. Now, the statement that they were signing on to was this: admitting the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other social scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war. That was the whole statement that they signed. To me, this is essentially a statement saying AI could get crazy. We should probably all be careful, right? And that's one of those statements that it's sort of vague, but it's also sort of hard to disagree with. Like, it's a statement saying that we should make sure we're not going to go in the wrong direction with this. There's no details about what should be done, what shouldn't be done. It's just a statement saying, let's treat it like a global priority. So I don't totally know what this accomplishes, other than it feels like it's sort of designed to get people to sort of take notice and go, all right, the people behind AI are taking precautions. I don't know. It doesn't feel very useful. It just feels like a whole bunch of people said, let's sign something that says, let's take this seriously. And that's about it, which is probably a narrative that doesn't hurt, seeing that magazines like Time are putting this on the cover, the end of humanity with the letters AI sort of highlighted. And that was pretty much most of the news in AI this week. And I'm recording this on Thursday, so there could still be more news that pops out on Friday. And if there is, I'll make sure it's included in next week's video. I do want to close with 2 other things that are kind of cool. If you remember a couple months ago, I did a video that was sponsored by a company called Wirestock. It was a tool where you could upload your AI generated images. It would automatically title them, write descriptions, add tags to them, and then it would distribute them to all of the stock photo sites for you. Now, this video is not sponsored by Wirestock, but they did just release a cool new feature that sort of ties Wirestock and Midjourney together and even saves you more steps. Wirestock themselves just released their own Discord bot. You simply connect your Wirestock account to Discord, use their command to log into Wirestock, and once your account is successfully connected, it actually adds a new button inside of your Discord account to upscale and publish. So you can actually generate an image with Midjourney and then just give it the command to upscale and publish, and it'll just take that image and throw it over to Wirestock for you and upload it. Again, this isn't sponsored by Wirestock. This is just a cool feature that they emailed me about, and I said, that is really cool. I'll go ahead and shout that out in my next video. And finally, I want to end with what's coming. So next week is WWDC. WWDC is the Worldwide Developers Conference, and it's an annual event that Apple does. And this year's, the expectation is that they're going to be talking about some new mixed reality goggles. At least here at the Augmented World Expo, that seems to be the hype that everybody's talking about. It's also expected they're going to release some new computers and make a bunch of other announcements. And I find it hard to believe that some of these announcements won't also include AI. So next week should be really interesting to see what comes out of this Apple event. And you know, I'm going to be watching it and reporting on whatever cool, interesting stuff comes out of it. The mixed reality headset is supposed to be the biggest deal of the thing. That's what everybody's kind of the most hyped about. We'll see. Hopefully it lives up to the hype. I'm excited to find out more. And that's really all I got for you this week. It was kind of a slowdown week in AI, not for NVIDIA, but for the rest of the AI world. I feel like everybody kind of went, man, NVIDIA's doing a lot this week. Let's let that breathe. So we'll see. Next week might be all Apple, and I'm definitely here for it. I just love nerding out about it and finding out what's next and seeing what everybody's talking about. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, make sure you like this video and subscribe, and I'll make sure to continue to keep you in the loop. And if you haven't already, head over to futuretools.io. This is where I curate all the coolest tools that I come across. I update it every single day with new tools, with new news, with the newest videos that I'm publishing. You can find it all over at futuretools.io. And if all of it's a little too overwhelming, just join the free newsletter, and every Friday I'll send you the TLDR of the week with just the 5 coolest tools that I came across, a handful of news articles, a handful of YouTube videos, and one cool way to make money with AI. It'll just give you the grand overview of everything that's happening in the world of AI. I'm going to start talking a little bit more about augmented reality and virtual reality. I'm really getting hyped up about this stuff being at this conference this week. And again, you can find it all over at futuretools.io. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you checking out from Santa Clara, California. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.